So have you wanted to know how to sew more efficiently, how to take a block and look at it and think about the sewing order? How about using up scraps or little parts of fabric that are left over that you're like, what am I going to do with this? And have you thought so far, maybe you've started thinking about it here in December, about how to track what you're doing in 2020? Maybe not track everything, maybe just track your quilt things. I'm Pat Sloan and this is my fireside chat. It is the end of 2019, the end of a decade, the end of the year. I'm super excited about that. I don't know why. I always think that when you go into a new decade, it feels like a super fresh start. My mom was born in a 0 year, so I always tease her because, like, you know, every 10 years she gets sort of this, everybody's all excited. And she's born in January too, so it's a sort of a refresh all the time. So I'm going to talk about a few different projects we're working on, those things I mentioned. And first I want to show you this nifty tool I got in before we get into the other things. So let me just bring this down here in a second. Oh, wait a second. Happy New Year. I've got my tiara on and I dressed up sort of, you know, black. I've got my blingies on, new nail polish. Whee! Those little ones you peel, you know, you put on yourself, those color works or something. Yeah, fun. Got silver glitter. I think that would be nice to roll into the new year. So this is a little tabletop that I was sent by the Fat Quarter Shop to me. So I wanted to show it to you. I've been trying it out. It is pretty nifty. It's something, they don't have too many of them because they're sort of hand built. They only build small batches of them. And I think it's pretty cool. It is really useful for those of you who might not have really good work surfaces. Maybe you're going to a retreat or something where the work surfaces are kind of rough and you want to have something smooth to cut on, because you can put this down and then, let me just show you this. So this surface here, they have the numbers. The numbers are all across the bottom, and it fits, you know, a regular cutting mat. You can put a round cutting mat on it. But the other thing that's really cool is that it has legs. So let me show you those. So on the back here, I'll pull that up again now. There we go. So it has these legs that come out, and the hinges are real nice. They don't slide or anything. And then you can just put this down and it sets the table up about 6 inches higher, so that if you have some sort of surface that, you know, maybe you're a tall girl or tall guy and you need to have more height to where you're working, this would be perfect. Also, if you have a lot of stuff underneath that you don't really want to move, you can take this and you put it right on top of the stuff. The stuff can sort of stay there, and I know, isn't that bad? But it works. It can work. So there aren't that many of them. I'll link you to it in the text box here at the video, wherever you're watching it. It's also at my website. I know they don't make a lot of them. They only have a few in right now. So I just wanted to show it to you. I'm going to put the legs up. There you go. Just going to set it down here while we're chatting. So put it down behind me. Okay. We are going to talk first, I think, about planning. Because, you know, it's December, it's the end of the year, and building a scrappy, building with a scrappy planner, you know, I don't know why I'm calling it that. That's the name of one of the planners. So at the end, also listen to the end, because I'm giving away one of each of the planners at the end that you left comments from last week. But I was wondering, okay, so I showed you the planners last week, and we've had a lot of discussion on the planners. There's 2 different ones that I showed you. Of course, there's all different kind of planners out there, but both of these are designed for quilt makers. And if you watched last week's fireside chat, I showed you the insides of them and the differences in them. This is a bit more calendar oriented, and this is a bit more project oriented. But what was cool is, let me see, I wrote her name down here. Patty, in our Facebook group, did a post about how effective she was during 2019 with the Quilter's Planner. She got it from her daughter, and she had 60 projects that she worked on, and she tracked them and did all this stuff to be sure of what she was doing. And I thought that was so fabulous. And so many of you said you'd never even heard of a planner. So I was thinking, so tell me what you think. Leave me a comment, email me, leave it at Facebook under the video, or YouTube under the video, or at my website, because I want to know, would you like to do a challenge for 2020 where you get one of the planners, whatever works for you, get a planner or some other planner, but if you get a planner and then we track what we do and we show it maybe twice a month, or maybe once a week. Even once a week, you say, okay, I filled it in. Like here's like the project list on this on the Scrappy Planner. So it has, the front page is just the project list, and that sort of appeals to me for 2020. I've used this planner before, and it is absolutely fabulous. And they both will do this exact same thing, track your projects. This one will also do a lot more. The Quilter's Planner will help you a lot more for your weekly planning. If you want to incorporate like your regular calendar, so you just have one book. So if you are a planner, you could just take this and just have one planning guide and have everything. But what I'm thinking is track the projects, and then, the book has things like this. So you have the project, you have swatches, when you started it, when it's due. Because I think a lot of you have told me that you struggle with that delivery point. You know that you're working, like one of the ladies said, I'm working with a church group and we're doing these projects, but it doesn't seem like anybody's planning it, the deadlines. So she said they don't make the deadlines very much. And that's really easy to solve once you know what the deadline is, how many blocks you have to do to get there. This is how long it's going to take to do the blocks. This is when the blocks are delivered. This is how long and who will be doing the top. This is how long and who will be doing the quilting. And then who will do the binding. And then you take it and you go from when you want it finished. Okay, it's going to take a week back. That means that the top has to have a week for binding. So the top has to be quilted. A week for the quilting. So that's when the delivery date is for the quilter. A week before that to have all the blocks in. Maybe it's going to take you a month to make all the blocks with 5 different people. Okay, go 4 weeks, even earlier than that. You can just put it on the calendar, track it here, and see if things are coming in. So I'm curious if you want to do that, if you want to do a challenge for 2020. I've never done that. I've never done it with a group. I have a free 1-page sheet out on my website, but I've never done something where we are accountable, where you come in and you're accountable for what you've been doing and sharing that. So I'm curious. Let me know if enough of you think that you would do it, we could do that together. It's something that helps you, even if you just track what you actually did. Like this is how much I did. Maybe you don't get too detailed, but you at least say, I started it and I finished it. This is who I gave it to. Here's a picture of it. Or, you take a picture of it, you put it in your digital if you're not, printing them out. That's, but maybe put your fabric swatches in there. All right. So that is one thing I want to know about. I really want to know what you think about that. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is sort of the goals for 2020. I'm very, I like to have things. I mean, I run a business, so of course I have goals for the business. There's always goals for the business, and every business has them. Everybody should have them for business. But also, I have personal goals. I want to have done this year or that this year. And so for me, I have some personal goals to do a bit more things other than just quilts. I want to do some gardening this year. We aren't going to have quite as much travel, so I'll be home, be able to go do gardening. I'd like to pick up my crochet again. I would like to experiment with some different recipes. So I haven't really done much of that in years, and I've been really interested in doing that. Another couple things that I want to focus on, which are for all of us, is to get the UFO Friday going again. I had too many things going on. So it didn't quite get focused. It might sometimes only show up in the Facebook group. Sometimes it'll be it might be on a Saturday instead of Friday. This depends on the day of the week. Like, you know, I made to have the Orafill on the 15th. If the 15th is on Friday and it's the Orafill, or it's the first of the month, then I'll do UFO on like Saturday. So I think that would be good. Everybody seemed to like that. It's a nice reminder to be working on something. And Cindy, who does my quilting, Cindy at the spa, Cindy and Dennis, Cindy said she's going to be working on a weekly something. You know, she's going to set a goal for every week. She's going to be doing, you know, a certain thing on a certain day, one item she wants to get off her list until they're done. And that's also another way to approach it. If you have one project and you're like, okay, I only can devote once a week to it. You just say, okay, I'm going to do it on Tuesdays. So that project I'm going to work on every Tuesday for a little bit, and then eventually it'll be done. So that's another way to look at it. I also had started a gallery page this year, and I did maybe through the middle of the year updating it for completed quilts. But then 2020 now, I'm going to challenge myself to do better, to get more of that done, and remember to go over there and update the gallery. And I want to do my word of the year again. I started in 2006 with a word of the year, and I've done it every year since 2006, and I toyed around very much with not doing it and decided, well, I really like doing it. And some years I don't focus on it very much, but the thing is I have no word of the year. Prior years I had like finish, balance, create, hope, travel, possibility. Those are some of the ones. Right now I don't, the only word that comes to me is peace, and I'm not sure, not sewing, but it could be, right? Sewing peace, but peace. And I'm not sure that's the word I want. You know, the word of the year for me is something that I want to connect to monthly. And I do this, I get the class now. I didn't start with the class because she didn't do it yet. I did it prior to her starting classes. But Allie Edwards, and I like her style. She's a scrapbooker, so she does focus on the story and documenting it, but she gives you prompts every month. So I like that, and I usually sign up for hers now, so I like them. All right, that is sort of some of the focus of what I want to think about. And so, you know, things that I want to do with intention, you know, for 2020. If I don't think about them, they just don't happen. You know, so I want to get them written down. I have, I have New Year's Eve. That's the day I might work on those things. New Year's Eve, it might be a planning day for me to really think about the things that I want to do with intention in 2020. Okay, so quick little snack chat, which will be the last one for 2019. And I was given, let's see, Cindy sent me this cute little card, and I have to show you. She sent me these gorgeous, yummy things. They are so good. And I'll tell you what they are. They're peanut patties, orange slice cookies, and divinity. So aren't they beautiful? I think they're, whoops, there you go. They're beautiful. To check and see them. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, she told me she was doing these, and then she said, I'll send you some. So I was like, oh, how nice. The other thing I was looking at recently, they do a lot more of these little packets, these little small packets. I really like these because in 2020, I can't be buying whole boxes of cookies all the time. So it's like, my waistline is not going to enjoy that. So I thought this was really cool because you could get just a couple cookies and then maybe only eat one of them and, you know, spread it out if possible. So that was sort of fun to find those. The Pepperidge Farm cookies, those special ones like that. I like the Brussels ones the best. Those are my favorite. Yeah, they got nuts in them. They're really good. So let's talk Traffic Jam. Traffic Jam is a scrappy quilt along. Here is one block that I've been showing you, the blue version, for a while now. And what I want to do is use this to talk about how to think about sewing efficiently. Because when I sew, you know, if you've heard of the word chain piecing is basically setting up a stack or setting up a sequence of your block and then just going through and, you know, sewing, cutting them off, pressing, coming back, doing the next step, sewing. And when you chain piece like that, one of the things that can make it, I find, more efficient, which I think is like a puzzle. I like to look at a block and say, how can I piece this most efficiently where I don't have to stop, I can just kind of keep going and sew more quickly. I know not everybody wants to sew quickly, but I like to sew quickly. And I always feel like it's, you know, you get a lot more done if you're efficient. I think a lot of that has to do with how I worked in coding, software coding for so many years, because you had to get from A to B and you wanted to do it very efficiently. So first, let's talk about that. I have got some blue, I have got the blue pieces down here. And what I want to do, so this is the block, put it over here, and it has some first of all, so efficiently, the first thing I do is I will take the stack like this. Okay, so this is just all kinds of blues. And then the blue one, this one I'm doing in a very simple way. I don't want to have the same fabric next to each other, and I want to vary it a bit. But I'm okay if the same fabric is in the same block twice. I mean, some of you may not want to, but that's too much work for me to try to eliminate that. So what I do is I grab this whole stack and I'll say, okay, I'll take these two and sew them together. And then I'll skip to the next group. So I will take then these two and sew them together. So I can easily, you know, go through, there they go. I can easily go through and just create this whole stack of 2 patches. That's basically what this is. It's a 2 patch. They're sewn together. Now I have the building block of this block of the traffic jam. So the traffic jam, these are all 2. That's how I'm set up. And then there's the 4 squares in the corner. These are all 2.5-inch squares. There is a pattern, so just go download the pattern. These are 4.5. These are 2.5. So now, in order to be efficient, what I will do is lay out how I want the block to look. So there are 6 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're not pressed yet. 5, 6. Okay, so I have 6 in a row, and then there's 4 corners, right? And I want those to be a little bit different. I'm not doing, for this one, I'm not doing all of them the same fabric. Here, let me just, whoops. Here we go. And then, here we go. So, we'll put the sailboat. That'll be cute. All right, so there's the 4 corners. Now remember, there's no seam allowances, so that's why it looks like a little out of sync. Now I do notice, this is how I look at it. See, now I notice that I've got 2 sailboats. So I could either decide to switch this sailboat up here so that I'm not going to touch it down there. There's this, and this one, no, that's not repeated. Put this here, and put that there. So now I've got this unit ready to sew. And what I do is I sew these and I sew these. So I will have these 4 patches like this. And then I will start sewing 2, 2, 2, and then come back and put this unit to this unit, and then add that unit. At this point, if you wanted to do this 2x6 and these 4 patches, you could do a bunch of those and then just lay them out and then sew corners through a whole group of them. I tend to do 1 block at a time. So I will do this block and then the next one, because I'm not really fussy cutting these, but I am, fussy placing them too much because they're very tonal. But on some colorways, I will be more particular where I place things. So I'm going to show you that next. So this is how I would go about it. Sewing them in units until I would get a completed, full block like this. So let's talk about setting colors up where they're a little more focused. Like these blues are all pretty much, I mean, you can just see that. They're pretty much the same. I don't have any that are real light. Even the darker ones, I'm okay with that because they're really darker blues, the whole thing. You can see it's really darker blues. They're not a wide variety. But I might want something that has more variety. So if you look at this one, where I did the gray in the corner, and then I did these sort of acid greens. This is all Betty's Luncheonette. These are leftovers from the orange quilt. So I did the gray, the acid green, the white based, and then a few pops of the dark. And so they had to be pretty intentional because I don't want these darks, like I could put them all in the middle, that would be a different look, but I don't want them sort of all side loaded. I wanted to sprinkle the darks around so that they rotated so your eye wasn't going like, oh, there's a whole big blob of dark in the one corner. So how do you approach that? I don't have any of those, I don't have those exact fabrics anymore because I used up all the Betty's Luncheonette. So let me just show you, excuse me. So I pulled 10 and 10, 10 gray and 10 green because there's 20 squares. Remember, this is a traffic jam block, and you can download the free pattern for our sew along, which starts January 31st. No, sorry, it starts January 1st. January 1st, New Year's Day. It starts New Year's Day. This is what we'll be sewing. So now the greens that I have here are pretty much the same tone. There isn't anything real dark or real light. But in the grays, I have a couple. Here's one that's super light. This is a little lighter. That's a little lighter. A couple of them are a little darker. So in this case, I would want to rearrange them so that these light ones would be sprinkled around, same as the effect here. So I wouldn't want them all, all on one side. And I would lay them out and get them so that I like them, and probably doing something where it's every other block is green. And then over here, I might do like this. There we go. Whoops. Shove it over a bit here, and then up the middle I might have, oh, there's cute little crabs, look at that, aren't they darling? And then I might want to, whoops, this has got to go trades, got to trade over there. So this one, there's so I got dark, 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 to see how that goes. There's two, they're the same, and instead of putting them in the middle, I'm just going to put that one there. Put this here, and then here, and then here. So that is how I laid it out. Now you can see just on the camera, these two are kind of closer. So maybe I will switch so I can balance some darkers out to the edges like that. Yeah, I like that. And I could even look at maybe switching these two. Now, to help you out, you could take a picture of this with your camera, and then that will let you see what you're seeing here on the video. It's the same thing. On the camera, you'll see like, oh, these really do show up a lot darker in relation to the other fabrics. So just like this block, we want to be able to sprinkle them around. Now this one I had 4 dark ones. So you could decide, well, I'd really like 4 dark ones. I like how that one turned. Oh, get the whole thing in. How that one turned out. You might decide you want that. I actually have enough of this gray. I'm trying not to buy anything for this particular project. So I have enough of this gray that I might do, see, I could do that gray. I might do 4 of these with the green like this and add it to the one, sample one over here. And just do 3 more. I have enough green and gray. Here is my bin of, these 2 stacks are green. These are mostly gray to brown. So, and I also, of course, have fabric I can cut. So I can cut into fabric. It doesn't have to be just something I already did. I can go cut what I need. So that is a bit about how I plan. On the first of the year, on January 1st, I'll have an article with some photos of different ones, and we can get ready to, well, you could sew. I mean, you could start sewing now because you can download the pattern. You can start getting your fabrics together, like here. You can start getting your fabrics together. I've got this nice little basket that I put them in like this, so that, you know, they're in here, and then they're set right by my sewing machine. I actually keep the squares there too, so that I have them. So we'll run for 3 weeks, the Scrappy Sew Along for 3 weeks, and then after that will be the childhood games. So as long as I'm ready for childhood games, if possible, that might have to shift 1 week. So we'll see, because also in January I have to work on my book. That has to be my priority, to get the book finished. It's about, you know, 2/3 finished. So I have a bunch of little small projects to make, and then a lot of writing. So that is a big focus. So this will run 3 weeks. Possibility we'll do Traffic Jam for 4 weeks, and make blocks. And I'll show you a couple other things you can do with these each week, like after the second and third week. So it'll be so much fun. I don't know where the original one is that's in the pattern, but I have pictures of it, so I'll put that up on Wednesday. That'll be on the post, on the article. But I don't know where the physical quilt is. I have about 650, close to 700 pieces, and I can't find it. I can't find it. So, so pictures will be all you get to see. And remember, we have the first Friday of January, which is in a couple days, at the end of the week. This Friday is Out West, and we have kits for that. So that is a mystery block of the month, just one a month, and that's super fun. People did Out of This World last year. You did amazing jobs with those quilts, and so Out West is going to be equally fun, and you're just going to really love it. And the fabrics, I'm so excited to play with these fabrics. And so if you want the same that I have, you can pick up a kit. All right. So the other thing that I want to talk about for 2020 is doing, you know, like the monthly challenge of, we started with scraps, you know, working through our scraps, and this is kind of continuing this in January. And I will either continue with scraps in like February, or we will switch it up to another part of challenge. You know, I have to see, but I have to stay pretty focused in January to get the book done. So I really can't jump around too much and think about too many other things in January. All right, I wanted to do a little end of the decade. I was thinking, Greg and I, the shipping department, Greg and I were thinking about different things that we've done over the last 10 years. Our business is 20 years old in January as a full-time business. We both left our day jobs. We just quit 20 years ago, which seems like forever, doesn't it? 20 years ago, it just seems, I don't know, like a really long time. I'm going to put this up here. There. So when we did that, you know, we started this business, and over the past 10 years, some of the fun things that have happened are that I wrote 14 quilt books in the past 20 years. Yeah, 14. Past 20 years. I'm doing the 10 years. Sorry, 10 years. Past 10 years, I did 14 books. That's more than one book a year. I've done 36, I think, books total. I've done 10 fabric lines in the last 10 years. I launched my Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. So if you're not there yet, join me. It's fun. Let's see, I've started the Aurifil Designer of the Month, the monthly program. I started the free block of the month. I started the free block of the week. This is all in the last 10 years. I ran a podcast during those 10 years. I actually ran a second podcast early on, way back at the beginning of 2010. It was one for a crafting group. So I interviewed people about beading and painting and Mod Podge and knitting and crochet, because I can do all that stuff. So I interviewed those people. Let's see, I traveled and went to not only the trade shows, but I traveled to consumer shows. I traveled and taught at guilds and traveled and taught in quilt shops. We've been all over the place the last 10 years, which has been super, super fun. We're taking a little break from that now, so we're going to do quite as much travel the next year or so. We're going to spend some time being able to be here and doing other types of work that with all of you online, that I can reach a lot more people. So I can talk to a lot more of you this way. Okay, that is a lot. That is a lot. I wanted to show you one more thing, one or two more things before we go. The Bonnie Lane Sew Along, yay! I put out the block on last Friday, a couple days ago, for the drive down Bonnie Lane. This is the first row, the great big house is so cute, and then the little applique flowers. So if you have not, there's a little, I did a pop in and I showed you a little bit more about this. So if you have not started that one yet, you can join in. We've only just done 3 parts on the top row. We have the next section of the top row. We're only doing two parts a month, so you can easily join in. Okay, and the other thing I got in that I wanted to show you, which is so cute, it's like these big panels must be the thing right now. So this one I got in, called Nature is My Home. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, I love that. And it is 57 by 58. It's another one where you could possibly use this as a quilt backing, or you could just quilt it as a throw. Don't you see this, putting like Minky on the back and then just getting it quilted as is? You know, very nice. So my rolling assistant here is helping me out with those things. So I'm excited. I'm excited about 2020. I'm excited that you're here. I'm so happy to be talking to you, friend. This is just amazing to have the ability to chat like this with you via the videos. So if you have not signed up yet, click the subscription, because after you do that, I'm going to now tell you who wins the planners. Yay, it's like planners to give away. So exciting. So exciting. A lot of you entered for this one. And let's see. First of all, I've got the Scrappy Planner. This is the one that's, well, they're both, I mean, there's no different, they're just a little different format, but they both have pretty much the same content. So the Scrappy Planner is going to go to Donna Judd. Donna says, I'm not an organized person. I would love to learn to use one of these planners to organize myself and my projects. So Donna, if you also are excited to then do this, show this once a month or twice a month, that would be super cool. And then Connie Merrill, this gets this planner, and actually Connie, you'll be emailed a code from the Quilters Planner so that you can go to their website and order exactly what you want. So you can order the cover that you want, you can order the format inside, and it comes with the magazine. And Connie said, I always thought about getting a planner, but never had one. So she'd like to start in 2020. And there you go. So I will be emailing both of you. This has been so fabulous. I know 2020 is going to be an incredibly fun year, lots of cool stuff, and I will be wearing this on New Year's Eve. So thank you very much for joining in. I love you. You do amazing work. You are such a great community. Say goodbye to 2019 and hello 2020. See ya.